It's kind of a mess. That's okay. All right, I'm live on YouTube. Live on YouTube. My hair looks wackadoodle, but that's okay. How is everybody doing today? I'm just starting. Let's see, we got some hearts in the chat. Waiting for some more people to join. Ignore the mess behind me in my living room. Perfect. We got more people on. Today I'm talking about achieving the ultimate win-win scenario, level 3 approach to life. It's cling to me. It's not cling to me, but that's okay. We'll get there eventually. It's a work in progress. So we're going to talk about Pareto efficiencies and the business triple Entrente. It's hard to say. Wait for a couple more people to join on YouTube. Okay, we'll just get started. So we're talking about win-win scenarios and the level 3 approach to life. And what really is important to grasp in this conversation is what win-win scenarios look like and efficiencies. So they say that 80% of a business's work is done by 20% of the people. And then another aspect of that is that 80% of your accomplishments come from 20% of your actions. And it's important to understand Pareto efficiencies. So Pareto efficiencies is win-win scenarios. In the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, they talk about win-win scenarios. I think it's the habit number 4 that Stephen Covey talks about in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Win-win scenarios are important to grasp. You fool some of the people some of the time, but not all of the people all of the time. And especially in sales, it's really important to understand win-win scenarios. Your goal is to get to a win-win scenario. Because you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. You would be able to fool some of the people some of the time if you're trying to fool people, but never everybody. And so it's better to look at win-win scenarios. When you start moving towards win-lose situations, which is what most people exist in, they'll move into win-lose scenarios. What sometimes can happen is lose-lose scenarios. That's when you have a lot more issues with human beings. So if you have a win-win scenario or win-lose scenario, let's say a war, right? You're trying to win and somebody else is trying to lose, right? Or everybody's trying to win and they're trying to get the other person to lose. Usually both people lose. That's what happens. So a lot of them are lose-lose. They turn into lose-lose. Being competitive is great, but that doesn't mean you need to go to war. This is very dangerous. Win-lose, but not everything you showed. Is they buy, but not everything you showed? Yeah, I mean, that's basically what a lot of sales situations are. The best salesmen try to find win-win scenarios, not win-lose, because then it's lose-lose. But you, Shorty Boy, I still think you're talking from a sales perspective of win-lose. We're talking about not being in a win-lose scenario. Everything you do is a social experience. Business is nothing more than a formalized approach to create a customer where one doesn't exist. We need companionative love. And companions are win-win. Creating a formula or creating a customer where one doesn't exist, that's a win-win. It should be a win-win, right? Because the customer has access to something that they never had before. Money does make you happy. So a lot of people say money doesn't make you happy. Some people say money does make you happy. And I would say it's not black and white. But if you look at the statistics, the people that have money are happy. But once they hit a certain point, they only are incrementally happy compared to how much they have. So somebody that makes over $75,000 a year, every $1,000 they get more, every $100,000 they get more, is not going to have that much of that much effect. And the more that they have, the less, or the more it takes to get any sense of happiness. And money does make you happy, but only if it doesn't decrease your loneliness. Or I say increase your loneliness. Only if it doesn't make you more lonely. Because people that have a lot of finances or a lot of money, they tend to become more lonely sometimes. So as long as it doesn't make you more lonely, I think that it does increase your happiness. Because most of happiness has to do with social experiences. It doesn't buy happiness, but it's a pretty good down payment. There you go, right? And having a home, having a great place, this is just an example, a hypothetical, but having a wonderful home, think of like your dream house. Wouldn't that be a fantastic place to invite people over and have less loneliness, more social interactions, more people that you love spending time with you? Yeah, but money's really just like a tool, right? It can be used for good or evil. A hammer can certainly destroy a lot of things, but it can also build a lot. Triple Entrente. I cannot say it, but that's okay. 3 allies during World War I. So you want to have 3 different allies. Win-lose is like robbing a bank or going to a fast food chain. I'd say that going to a fast food chain is win-lose because you're losing. You might win in the short term, but you're actually losing. You win in the battle, you lose in the war. Robbing a bank, right? You might get the money, but then you have to either run away from, the police for the rest of your life, or you're stuck in jail for the rest of your life. Short term, but not long term. The average American eats fast food 3 times a week. With fast food, the corporation wins, but the society feels the weight. Fast food is a level 1 business, which needs to change. For instance, implementing more salads at McDonald's. So level 1 is seeking just to give people pleasure. And it's a lose-lose in a lot of ways, or a win-lose, sorry. So a win-lose is level 1. I would say that a lot of, this is going to be kind of a personal take, but a lot of, if you're messaging on my other live stream, send messages over on YouTube. Those are the ones that I'm reading on YouTube. Just saying. Yeah, people are so unhealthy. If you think that's bad, look at how much soda people drink. And then if you think that's bad in America, in South America, the amount of soda people drink is insane. So level 1 is win-lose. Level 2 is more neutral. I would say that an example of that would be like a hotel chain or maybe a coffee shop. It's not changing the world in any way. Certainly not changing the world in any way. And then level 3 is win-win. It's not overtly, but like a hotel chain is not overtly changing lives or causing malice. And you can definitely make some money, but it's not some incredible life-changing thing. But Win-win is where people give you money and they are excited to give you the money. For instance, with Oprah Winfrey, when you pull off a level 2 business, your motivation changes. So when you have a level 2 business and you're like, okay, cool, this is great. But you might get bored with it. With a coffee shop, you're not changing the world. That's why a lot of the best coffee shops that people really, really love and gravitate to are not Starbucks or Dutch Bros. They're really, think about the hipster chains that have like a mission tied to them. Where like, we give all of our money to change the world in this one way. Like those are the coffee shops that people love. They're like, man, I want to go to this like Christian coffee shop that makes the best coffee ever, but also becomes a level 3 business by being completely volunteer run and giving all their money to help poverty in a third world country or something else. How many people would cut your throat in your sleep? Not many. People are not very cutthroat. People do not mess with you unless, for the most part, unless it is something that they gain. They have to gain something from it. Ignore the cats in the background. If you are messaging anything in the chat, please move over to YouTube so I can see that. You need a buffer in what you do in business. The ultimate win-win would be moving towards level 2 and level 3 business with less friction. In level 3 businesses, you make the same amount of money with less friction. It's a higher level of forgiveness. In cellular, I have a lot of experiences in cellular, right? That I would consider that a level 1, if not a level 2 business. It's very rarely a level 3. And at an AT&T store or Verizon store, it's very, like, the perspective that the sales representatives have is a win-lose. They're trying to win and they're trying to get other people to lose. More often than not. Sometimes it's neutral. But I'd say more often than not, a lot of it's win-lose. And it's really sad. But when one little issue occurs, one little problem happens, people come in throwing hands and yelling. And that's because it's not a level 3 business. There is so much friction and no forgiveness whatsoever for mistakes. There are times when you will not have choices with win-lose situations. It has to be the right place, time, and duration. Don't ever listen to people that say that money is evil. Money is a tool. In the hands of the wrong people, it can be harmful, but in the right hands, it can be just fine. My questions are, is your current career a level 1, 2, or 3 business? How do you feel about the level you're at right now? What is a transition plan to move up to a level 3 business? And besides your career, what are things you can do to be in win-win situations with health, love, happiness? More win-win gives you more clarity. That's the words of wisdom.